Hello there, my Periscope family. How are you? I am Helen Sadler, your destiny helper, coming to you once again, always appreciating the many emails that I'm getting from you. Thank you so much. Thank you for liking and sharing the page. Don't forget to subscribe. Push that little bell, and every time I come on with a new video, you will get an alert. You will always be on top when I'm on. Thank you so very much. Those of you who are emailing me asking for sessions, email me, leave your number, and I will get back in contact with you. The email is destinyhelper12s@gmail.com. destinyhelper12s@gmail.com. So let's talk about something. Let's talk about the things that you're asking me. You're always writing me, having wonderful questions, and it's a joy and a privilege to answer them. The question of the day is, I seem like I'm going around in circles and I never can pull myself out. What is this? You know, we're going to talk about the merry-go-round, the narcissist merry-go-round. The narcissist merry-go-round is when you get into a conflict and you try to resolve an issue and you never resolve the issue, because the narcissist, when you argue, he takes you away from the issue. He starts talking about something else that's directly connected to the issue or indirectly connected to the issue, but he never hit the issues. And then you notice that the longer you converse with the narcissist, after a while, you're blamed for everything. It is your fault, and the narcissists themselves do nothing. And so you go around in a circle, and just when it seems like you're reaching a resolve, you find yourself back to the very same place that you started with. And this word salad, the narcissist used this word salad. You know, in salad you got tomatoes and cucumbers and different lettuce and onions, and you may have goat cheese in there, slice whatever you want in there. So you get this salad, but you mix everything up together where everything is connected to each other. You can identify the thing, but you can no longer separate the thing. That's why it's called a salad. It's all meshed together. And that's what the enemy does, the narcissist does. The narcissist mesh everything together. He make everything seem like it goes together. He doesn't separate anything. And when you do hit the point and you're able to pull something out, he stirs it back up. And this is why when you talk to them, you get into a conversation, you feel like you're going round and round and round and round. And then what happened? He drops confusion. Confusion separates the mind from truth. Confusion, it boggles the mind to a point, a directive, to it interrupt focus. So instead of having a focused conversation, you got a scattered conversation, a discombobulated conversation, a confused conversation. The conversation, you don't know which road goes where. It seemed confusing, and he drops that bomb of confusing, and after a while you're confused as to what you were even talking about. You'll wonder why you're still talking, because you done forgot what you were supposed to be talking about. You forgot what you're supposed to be proved. And then finally you walk away thinking, what am I talking about? And you feel guilty because you have lost the angle of focus. You no longer know what you're talking about. He sees that you're confused, and you know that you're confused. And so now you leave the topic, and then the narcissist wins again because you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, he done took you in so many circles. You're like, what am I talking about? And then he leaves it, and he laughs, and he have this smirk, and you watch him smirk away, boom. And then you remember, you go, oh yeah. And before you know it, he's out of there. He said, I'm not going around in circles with you. I've already resolved this. We've already talked about it. You've already agreed with me. You said, I didn't agree with you. I don't even know what we was talking about. He said, see, you don't even know what we were talking about. And now here you come with all of this confusion again. Why don't you let let things lie. You keep stirring up problems and stirring up problems. He said the problem is you. The problem is you won't let things go. The problem is you won't hear me. The problem is I'm talking and you don't listen. You never listen to me. Every time I tell you something, you never listen to me. I need somebody that's going to hear me, somebody that's going to listen to me. And then you start, now you was confused, but now you feeling guilty because you're feeling, well, I should listen to them. You know, I'm supposed to love them, and they're talking and I'm not listening. Okay, once again, he sees that the guilt is working. So he turns the guilt up. Then you go in the kitchen and wash dishes and you're thinking, wait a minute, this is not my fault. I am not guilty. And by the time you go back in there, because you have not learned that you're never going to win with a narcissist, they will gaslight you until you get blamed for everything. And then they will word salad you till you get confused with everything. And then they will totally neglect the problem altogether, where you get blamed for everything. So now you're dealing with confusion, you're dealing with blame, and you're dealing with guilt. And now you're dealing with all of those things, and you feel like you're not adequate. You feel like you can't do anything right. You start criticizing yourself, ostracizing yourself, and you start thinking, dog, you know, I really was really trying to do it. Man, I got to get myself together because I don't want to be the reason this relationship doesn't work because I can't get myself together. And he sees that. And then he comes in with another argument, because once you are down and once you start blaming yourself, he jumps on top of you and give you more abuse. He gives you more verbal abuse because the narcissist is used to it. He's used to evading things. He's good at it, and she's good at it. They evade the problem. They don't work the problem. You now got the problem. You are now the parent of the argument. You are now the parent of the problem, and they're the child that skates away. They skates away with no responsibility. There's nothing added to them but you. And when you look at them, you wonder, how did they get away? They always do this. But you have to learn, you cannot argue with a narcissist. The narcissists are not going to stay on this subject. They're going to evade the subject, and they're going to talk about something that's close to the subject, and then they add something else that's even farther away from the subject. And then now they're getting farther and farther away from the subject until you are not even talking about what you were originally talking about. And you are more confused than when you first started. And after a while, you just got to sit down and rest your brain. They have worn you out in a 30-minute argument. Then they come back and argue over the same thing again. They get in the bed, they keep on going. And every time you reach a resolution, he goes right back around to where you started from. So you never, ever come to an end. You never become a finisher with the narcissist. The conversation is not over because it was never attended to. You never got to the root of the problem because there was no problem. Now the narcissist has erased the fact of what offends you and what you need to discuss, and you allow it to be erased over and over and over and over. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, now it's 10 years, and he's still doing the same thing, except they're better at it. And for 10 years, you felt guilty. For 10 years, you felt like you didn't do your job. For 10 years, you kept feeling like you can do better. For 10 years, now you feel like a total failure. You had guilt, shame, and confusion. Now you feel like a total failure. Your self-esteem is shot. Your nerves is shot. You're having headaches and stomach aches and back aches. And you don't know whether to get up, to stand, to run. You know, you just don't know anymore because confusion has got into your identity and is your middle name. You have to know that you'll never win with a narcissist. When the narcissists argue with you, it's not because you are right. The narcissists argue with you because they know you'll never win. You won't win with a narcissist. He won't stay in the ring. He's fighting from the floor and you're fighting in the ring. And it seemed like he was there and you look up. You've been fighting yourself. You've been beating yourself up. And then you wonder, wait a minute. This is not supposed to go like this. But it did. When you realize the map has been rewritten, but the roads are the same, you throw away the map. The map is your pattern of doing things. Anytime you do things in a systematic pattern, you're getting ready to get a culture. The culture will always identify you as a person, because you will start saying, this is the way I am, because you create a culture from the pattern. And the narcissist was the trainer. When you train yourself into the narcissist pattern, he will always win, because he wrote the blueprint. And the blueprint that you are building is for what he designed. So he take ownership of everything, because it's his design. You got to make sure you do not get on this merry-go-round where you're going around in circles. It doesn't matter what you do, you go around in circles, and you keep seeing the same thing year after year after year. Even when they're so sorry it made you cry, year after year, even when they apologize, until it made your heart melt. And it was the same thing year after year. So you got to realize, if you want to go in circles, you're in the right place. But when you want to break the circle, you got to be in a different place. You got to change your mind. You got to allow your mind to grow beyond what you feel. You got to allow your mind to grow beyond what you used to identify. You got to self-care. You got to start turning inward. You got to build your mind. You build your mind with words. You feed your mind with imagery. You feed your mind with confidence. What you want your mind to be, that's what you build in your mind. Whatever you give yourself to, it will give itself back to you. It's time that you give yourself to you and start building you, and stop going around in circles. Because you know what else go around in circles? Time. Time go around in circles. And before you know it, you'll be 25 years stuck in the same place, dealing with the same person. The only person who's changing is the narcissist. They are mirroring other people, bringing other people to the house. You have seen other people and you wonder why he do this. That's new. Where did that come from? That came from a mirror. Just like you were mirrored. He mirrored you, and you loved you. And now he's mirroring himself. You can't stand him, but now you start to mirror him, because you are being trained to act like him, and that he doesn't like himself, so he's not going to like you very well. That's why there's devaluation, and that's why there is a discard. He discard himself. He's sure going to discard you, and you keep going around in circles, and you don't know whether to run, flight or freeze. You don't know whether to run. You fear everything. But this time, you know that this circle has to be broken. It's the narcissistic circle. And you cannot go forward in a merry-go-round situation. That merry-go-round will take the same pattern. It will do the same thing. It will never change. It can go faster. It can go slower. And sometimes it's fun. It'll make you dizzy. It'll cause you to be disorientated. The narcissist circle. When you want to go forward, break the circle. Feed your mind with power, and your life will obey it. I'm Helen Sattler, your destiny helper. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please write me. Leave your comments at the in the box at the bottom. It's always a joy and a comfort. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will see you on the next video.